Good evening. I'm George Herbert, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now, Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. Obviously, we have some rainfall occurring now. We'll talk about how there's some more, well, actually quite a bit more rainfall on the way over the next 24 hours or so, as well as the potential for some flash flooding and damaging winds. So we'll talk about all that good information with you. We'll give it about a minute or so before we dive into that information, as we always do. Of course, as you're coming into the broadcast, make sure you say hello, so that way I can greet you and let me know who is in here, where you're from, so on and so forth. You guys know how to do all that good stuff. And share the broadcast. We would appreciate that a ton. Making sure everything's working correctly here. That's why I keep looking to my right, because I'm using a different... Well, I'm using the same thing, but a different way of doing it. Tamara, hello, how are you? Lovely Girl on YouTube from Sturgis, hello. Hi from Pike County. Kaylee, how are you doing? Silver Surfer, as always, from YouTube. Number one Yapper, I love that name. On YouTube, good evening to you. Hello, Ethan. Everyone's on YouTube tonight. I actually like that a lot because the YouTube videos look a lot better than the Facebook ones. For some reason on Facebook, like the videos always get compressed and the quality goes way down. I don't know what it is. Will, good evening to you out of Lexington. Again, we'll give it about a minute before we get started on the information. Let you know how much rainfall we're expecting to see, where we can see some brief wind damage, maybe possibly setting up, as well as an area that I picked out for some potential flash flooding over the next 24 hours. We'll talk. I know it's kind of crazy to think about flash flooding after we've been so dry for a while, but that is the potential in some locations. So I'll definitely get to talking about that here soon. But again, notifications go out a little bit slower or faster depending upon your internet connection. So I'll always try to give it 2 or 3 minutes before we get started. If you could hang out and be patient here with me, that would be great. Matthew from Russellville, hello. Jonathan, hello from Millerstown. Tamara out here from Elizabethtown. Oh my goodness, my AC kicked on. I thought it was like some sort of windstorm that came out of nowhere. That just scared the crap out of me. Okay. I do not speak English. I do not no hablo español. I don't speak Spanish, so I have no idea what you're saying, my friend. Katrina, hello. That's like the only words, that and like gracias and uno dos. That's all I know out of Spanish, honestly. Mary from Central City, good evening to you. All right, let's see here. Thank you guys again for all the shares and likes, and you guys know all the good stuff. Sorry, I'm like out of practice here. I'm just stumbling over my words. It's been a while since we've been live here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some of the cameras that we're seeing here out of Gage, Kentucky, out there toward Paducah, if you will. Why is that not capturing? Let's go ahead and fix that. There we go. And then the camera should come up here in about 2 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, or it's not going to work. That camera takes a minute. There it goes. That's out there in Gage, out there toward Paducah. Again, if you're just not hopping onto the video, we haven't really gotten started on anything yet. You haven't missed anything. Just kind of going through some of the intros here, looking around. Here's the camera. It's just refreshing. Just give it a moment. This is out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, on the I-64 or I-65 corridor, I should say, looking south. Again, just give it a moment. It will refresh. Hello from Stanford. Hello from Corbin. Good evening to you guys from Beaver Dam, E-Town, Richmond, Columbia, Central City, E-Town again. Okay. Now that I think we're at a good spot here, let's go ahead and pull up the radar and see what we're looking at. So here's your live radar as of about 8:04 p.m. Eastern time. You'll see that rain that we've seen pretty much throughout the afternoon and morning has now lifted more into northwestern and north central Kentucky, with some heavier rains mixed into that as well. Let me go ahead and turn on the radar sites here. Get up here toward this one. Some heavier rains here, maybe toward Elizabethtown, Litchfield, stretching out toward Bowling Green, so on and so forth. This is not it. This is kind of just the wake up for everything here. What this is doing right now, and again, I'll show you the model data and everything, and I do have a new forecast that we've made that I have not shown people yet, but I will show it to you here very soon. What's happening here is we got a low all the way down here, probably a little bit more south than that. It's bringing up Gulf moisture, and that's why it feels a little bit more humid today outside. Dew points are resting in the mid to upper 60s right now, maybe even approaching 70 out there toward western Kentucky. But nonetheless, moisture out of the Gulf is shooting all the way up here through Kentucky, all the way up to Indiana right now. At the same time, we have a cold front that's going to be diving its way down here. Now, if this were to happen in the spring or summer, we'd probably have a massive concern for severe weather. At this point, though, there's really no concern for severe weather with this. This is just a bunch of rain that's coming along with it. So what we're seeing happening here, to back all that up here, is that Gulf moisture shooting up, so it's pushing all the stuff north. And then as the cold front gets a little bit closer, what we're going to start seeing is more expansion of the rain showers in this area, and it's starting to move out to the east. So instead of it going north like it is now, right, it's going this way at the moment. Eventually, overnight and by tomorrow morning, a lot of these are actually going to be going this way. So we actually have some tilting occurring here that's actually happening. Pretty cool stuff. Just really basic setup here. The reason we're not really expecting so much severe weather is because there's just too much rainfall with this. There's a lot of rainfall with this. Now, there is a small window tomorrow, I'll talk about that, where some brief wind damages may set up here. So this is a double RFSA model here. I found it to be a little bit more accurate so far than a lot of the other models the past few months. So we're going to go off of this bad boy here. As you can see, though, right now, it's not all that accurate. So this is valid for right now, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. And you can see it's only seeing a few rain showers here. It's not all that bad. It's pretty close. It actually sees the spot of the heavier rains really well. Heavier rain here, heavier rain down toward Bowling Green, heavier rain out northwestern Kentucky. Pretty good. It even spotted the lone cell out here. Let me go ahead and show you this. It even spotted the lone cell out here toward Murray and south of Paducah. So it's actually pretty good. Now overall, it's not really grasping the width of all the rain shield right now, but it is doing pretty well on the actual like strength of the rain so far. So advancing this forward, so that's why I've kind of leaned into this model a little bit more. Now this is a newer model, so it's not 100% perfect, but it's been doing pretty well in the last few systems that I've been implementing it a little bit more on. Advance this forward, you'll see late tonight, overnight, more rain showers, maybe even heavy, featuring a few thunder rumbles at time. May start to develop out there toward Tuesday morning on the other portions of the day there out western Kentucky. And then those rains really expand as that cold front pushes closer. It gives it a little bit of a trigger there, and everything kind of expands. So we see a lot of massive rain showers happening here by around 9 to 10 a.m. tomorrow throughout a lot of central and western Kentucky. As for tomorrow afternoon, those rains begin to thin out at some point by around lunchtime or a little bit after, and then push out there toward eastern Kentucky. You'll see that there are some purples and reds starting to show up out really far south down there, south of Bowling Green toward the Tennessee and Kentucky border. And now a lot of you are going to see that and think that could be severe. I really don't think that's the case. I think that's just where the best mixing of rainfall ingredients are. You're going to see some really heavy rainfall showers out there. Now, on the other hand, by the way, most of the rainfall is going to be cleared out. Let me go ahead and actually go back here. Most of the rainfall will be cleared out by Tuesday evening. We may see a back line try and get sparked out here. I'm not sure how much energy will be left for storms to actually spark on this backside because there's so much rainfall going to create a cap on the environment at some point. But again, you do see it try to spark there. Even if it does spark, it's likely not going to be much of concern or much extra rainfall. Maybe a few extra sprinkles for the counties along the Ohio River there. When it's all said and done, this model is trying to pick up on quite a hefty rainfall for out there in western Kentucky. Look at this. It's trying to pick up on almost 9 inches of rainfall near Madisonville, Kentucky, toward Paducah, along almost getting in there toward Grayson County. It's trying to. I don't think we'll see that much rainfall. Let me put that out there. That's a lot of rainfall. I think the reason it's trying to pinpoint that is if you go back and look at what we just looked at here, you'll see that it's been raining here for several hours already today. They probably picked up almost an inch already today. And then where everything kind of gets going, the axis, if you will, you can see it just kind of sits there forever. That same area just kind of sits there. And then you get your heavier rains and then lingering rains. So that's why it's trying to pick up on 7 to maybe even 9 inches of rainfall in that area. And by the way, that's not the only model that's trying to do that. So here's an AM3K model. I'll show you its total rainfall amount projection here. It's also picking up on the exact same area. Now, it's not picking up on as much, but it's picking up on the same area here of 5 to 6 inches of rainfall. I've seen some rainfall maps showing up to 2 inches only possible. That's just not going to be the case in a lot of areas out there in western Kentucky. And here's the HRRR model where it's been the least aggressive, and it's semi-close. It's a little bit more to the north there and a little bit lighter, but still goes up toward about 4 inches of rainfall. Now, it has its heavier rainfall of almost 10 inches up there just northeast of Louisville. I really doubt that happens. Really doubt that happens. But again, you just kind of see the overall here. Here is the rapid refresh model here. Again, it's showing you all the rainfall totals so that you get the better idea. And it also is picking up on the western Kentucky rainfall there for Paducah to Madisonville out there in far western Kentucky. Now, this is the first model that's also showing a bright spot out there toward Lexington, Nelson County, Danville, Berea, Richmond, those areas out there in eastern Kentucky. This is the only model really trying to pick up on a lot of rainfall for there, but it's not impossible either. A lot of times in situations like this, you do get 2 areas that are substantially higher than everyone else. That's where both the axes are. And now here you're going to have the axis of the low pressure with the cold front and the Gulf moisture that we talked about. And then out here, you also get the axis of everything tilting, right? So oftentimes in this kind of setup, you do get two areas that will be higher than the rest. So you get kind of the idea there of what everything is kind of showing there. And here is the FV3 model, the high-res version of the GFS, and it also is trying to pick up on a heavier rainfall total out there in western Kentucky. So again, while I don't think we're going to see anything too insanely crazy, I do want to point out that there are some models trying to show a substantial amount of rainfall out in the western portions of Kentucky tomorrow. Again, this is on top of everything they've already seen, which is about an inch of rainfall so far. Matter of fact, I'm going to go over here and show you. Let's go over here to the actual main screen for a second, though, so I get a little more room here. We'll turn it on to storm total accumulation if I can find it. I always pass it up. Oh, I'm on the models. That's why I can't find it. Here we go. I'm really good at clicking the wrong buttons. Let's jump down here 1 second. So this is the amount of rainfall that's fallen over the last 24 hours or so. And about 25 millimeters equals 1 inch of rainfall. So you can see that down there in that same area already between Madisonville to Bowling Green down toward Hopkinsville, they're already at about, let me zoom in a little bit further here for you. They're already at about 20 to 25 millimeters of rainfall. Just west of Ratcliffe here, they're already at almost 2 inches of rainfall in that area where they've had some pop-ups just kind of take over the place there. So again, some areas have already seen almost 2 inches of rainfall in those green and even the yellow areas out there toward Brandenburg and Irvington. So it kind of sets the stage for the potential of 5 to 6 inches of rainfall tomorrow for some folks, because again, we know 2 to 4 inches of rain is coming tomorrow. That's not a doubt. We see that right here. So, and again, this is not taking the fact, really, it doesn't really take into account the rainfall that they've already seen. This is all newer rainfall. So you'll see that while we have a bit of concern here, especially for places like Madisonville, and again, I'll show you the forecast that we made out there toward Paducah, going toward Grayson County, where there may be an area set up there of 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. So again, that's why we have the big concern there. So that's rainfall. And again, most of that will be cleared out by about tomorrow around 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time for almost everyone in Kentucky. Here are the wind gusts that we're expecting to see. Now, these are non-thunderstorm wind gusts. So if we get a thunderstorm that gets a little bit stronger or taller in any of these bands, these wind gusts could periodically be a little bit heavier. So advancing this forward, you'll see there's some minor wind gusts out there tomorrow morning, 25 to 40 mile per hour. With the heavier rainfalls, you may see some small limbs coming down or loose items outside. And then, of course, it's trying to show a couple stronger bands there. We'll see if that actually happens. And here comes the actual cold front on the top of your screen here. You can see it for yourself just on the wind gust map here. And you can see when that cold front comes through here, you're going to feel a chilly breeze of up to 25 to maybe even 35 mile per hour at times. And again, remember, we just had a lot of periods of rainfall, a lot of loose items out there, maybe some loose limbs. Could see some small limbs, sticks fall off the trees or so. Nothing too insanely crazy out there. But you can see widespread 20 mile per hour gust or so throughout Wednesday morning. The winds kind of stay with us because the cold front just continues to increase. Again, the wind gusts kind of stay with us for several days there. I want to show you, by the way, real quickly, before we get into that forecast that we made that I told you about, what happens to the dew points here as the cold front comes in. Now, this is the part I like a lot. Here are our dew points about right now. You can see upper to mid to upper 60s, I should say, for many folks. Low 60s out there in eastern Kentucky. Very, very muggy, almost July-like day out there with the humidity. But watch what happens when that cold front begins to come through on Tuesday. Just see it from the top left of your screen there. And it just smacks it all the way out. If you did not know, dew point is kind of the measure of moisture that's in the air. There's more into it than that. But once you get above 60, about around the number 60, and you go up, that's when it starts to feel really muggy. Once you go below about 55, that's when things feel a little bit more crispy, a little bit more dry outside. Once you go below 50, it feels really comfortable. Once you go below about 30, that's when your nose starts hurting because it's burning because it's so dry outside. So that's if you didn't know, that's kind of what we're talking about here. So you'll see the dew points just get smacked way down. We're talking about on Thursday morning the potential for dew points to be in the 30s, which is substantial. Really, really, I mean, this model's trying to pick it up all the way down almost to below 32 on the dew point, which is kind of insane. By the way, if you were curious, look what happens to the temperatures. So here is your high for, let's go ahead and just talk about Wednesday here. Here's your high for Wednesday, around 65 to 67 degrees. The low for that day is going to be about 47 to 48. On Thursday morning, maybe even all the way down to 45. which is, again, insane compared to what we've been seeing. And then here's your high for Thursday. May not leave the 50s for many folks on Thursday. So again, going to be really, really close there. And then there's the low temperature for Friday morning. So just a substantial cold front. Now, we will warm back up a little bit between the 12th to the 15th-ish, if you will. But then an even stronger cold front comes through. And I'll show you that real quickly before I show you the forecast. Look at this. This is what I've been looking at today. This is pretty crazy. So this map is the 850 millibar temperature anomaly. Okay. Basically, what that big old mumbo jumbo means is the red that you see on the screen there, abnormally warm for this time of year. The blue that you see on your screen there, abnormally cooler air for this time of year. You can see right now we are abnormally warm. We have been abnormally warm for about a week now. And as we push on through here, bro, every time the air kicks on, it is scaring the crap out of me. I keep thinking it's like wind. So here is the cold front coming through that we're talking about right now. That'll be in here about Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, stretching through about Saturday or Sunday or so. You can see it does get around average for this time of year. So it's not really an astounding cold front, if you will. It does get a little bit below average. And then we warm back up slightly to slightly above average there. Again, pretty average for this time of year. Watch what happens, though, toward the... Actually, I'm on the wrong model run here. We get a little bit warmer there. Again, nothing too insanely crazy. Probably back up to the upper 70s, low 80s by about the 13th to the 14th of October there. Then we get quite a bit warmer. And then all of a sudden... The polar air just releases. It just releases. And look what happens by about the 19th to 20th of October. We are well below average conditions. We might see temperatures near freezing at this point. We could potentially see our first flash or our first hard freeze. We will see. That's too far out to really talk about. That's over 14 days out. So it's not going to be entirely accurate at this point. But just in case you were curious, we may see our first freeze before Halloween, which is not very abnormal. We technically usually see our first freeze around Halloween anyway. So it's not like it's too super abnormal, but compared to the last few years where we've seen our first freeze closer to November, it's definitely a bit of an eye catcher there and may hint at what may be coming this winter. I'll talk about that in our Wintercast videos coming up soon. But that's kind of how the pattern's unfolding there. I'll show you now the forecast that we made here. I'll go to the full screen for that. Let's do that real quickly. But before we get into that, I do got to give you a message from our sponsors real quickly, if you would not mind. It takes about a minute and a half. When we get back, I'll answer some of your questions and go over this forecast for you. I just wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you to our sponsors, Hyper Roofing. If you're in or around Hardin County, make sure you get your roof checked out before we head into the second severe season. You guys know it always happens in the fall and winter time. Make sure you get that roof checked out. Don't be reactive, be proactive. Hyper Roofing, there'll be a link to it down in the description below the video. Right Implement is a legendary Kentucky company that's been around for decades. Make sure you go check them out if you have any outdoor equipment or apparel needs, and they're always running discounts. I could add all of them in here, but they always have so many things going on, changing each month. Make sure you just go check out their social medias and see what they have to offer you, or stop in a store at any of their 15 locations. Once Upon a Child in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and on Outer Loop in Louisville, Kentucky, once again, like Right Implement, has a lot of deals going on. We have posted their calendars, and I'll add it into the video here for you to see. And again, just another great business that's family. Don't worry, Cody, I'll recap. And just the people that you want to support. Don't forget, you can sell your clothes back to them as well. The same thing can be said for Plato's Closet in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, owned by the same folks. Another phenomenal place for you to save money on shopping for clothes, or go take advantage of clothes that you don't use anymore and sell them back for some cash to help get you some groceries or anything else you might need. Hey, listen, it's hard out here. It's hard out here right now. Take advantage of that. Again, that's Plato's Closet in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. FBI Buildings is new to Kentucky, but they're not new to building pole barns, buildings, residential and commercial, so on and so forth. They also offer free estimates, and they have a large team of really phenomenal engineers. Make sure you take advantage of that free estimate and think of FBI Buildings for any of your projects or renovations or remodels. Thank you to FBI Buildings. You can head to FBIbuildings.com for that free estimate. Thank you to all of our sponsors, but now let's get back into the video. All right, let me find my camera there. There it is. Okay, move this over here real quickly. All right, so here is the forecast that we made that we have not published just yet. I'm going to post it after this video here. But the reason I made my own kind of map here instead of using the National Weather Services or the Weather Prediction Centers is because I feel like we're not highlighting the western portion of Kentucky enough in some of those maps. I got you, Cody. But anyway, so in that dark green areas where I'm expecting 3 to 5 inches of rainfall, maybe if we get some tilting to occur and some real nice stalling, could see a couple small spots go above that. We'll see. That's going to be yet to be seen. A general 2 to 4 inches in that lighter green, just outside of the dark green there. 1 to 3 inches in that, I guess, lime color, if you will. I'm not really sure what you want to call that. Half inch to 2 inches of rain or so in that yellow color. Key messages read as this. Given how dry and hard some of our grounds across the state are, we believe there is the potential for flash flooding. The best potential for this would be in the dark green zone, though it may be seen elsewhere too. As the cold front ushers in Tuesday p.m., wind gusts will increase given the rain softening up soils and limbs. Some minor damages may be seen regarding loose limbs or items left outdoors. So again, that's kind of the forecast that we made. Again, I will post this on our page here. Key messages time frame is 2 a.m. to 5 p.m. off and on. You guys saw it when we went through the model data there. Several periods of rainfall, stalling rain showers from west to east there, starting around overnight, going into early Tuesday morning, lasting until about Tuesday around lunchtime or so for most folks. Maybe the afternoon on Tuesday for some of you in eastern Kentucky. But again, overall, not a massive event here. The major headline is going to be the rainfall, going to really help some of those drought statuses out there, especially in the western half of Kentucky. My best advice to you is just expect a lot of rainfall between now and around lunchtime tomorrow. In that short time frame, a solid 2 to 4 inches for a lot of folks of rain is coming down. If you're out there in southeastern or far eastern Kentucky, less rainfall for you, probably closer to a half inch or an inch if you get lucky. The bullseye for this one is definitely going to be in the western portions of the state there. So again, nothing too really crazy to write home about here, but again, the rainfall is probably the main threat there. Okay, you think the winds are going to be damaging? There may be some small minor damages, again, like small, very small limbs, maybe some very loose light items left outside. We're not talking about a major windstorm here. Just a heads up, hey, bring in any loose items from outside, and maybe you'll see some small sticks in your yard from where they fell off the tree. Other than that, I'm not really seeing a whole lot unless we get a severe thunderstorm, which is not looking overly likely. Lexi, you didn't really miss much, my girl. It's going to be, for you out there, probably 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, maybe a little bit closer to the lighter side there. More winds for you than anything Tuesday night. Bluegrass Acres, hello. Amanda, what did I miss? Just talking about a lot of rain. I'll go back through the model data here. I mean, there's quite a few people just now tuning in here. I'll go back through kind of what we talked about here with you. Just again, so we'll start right here. Get this all set back up here for you folks that were tardy. Thank you guys again for all the likes and shares on the video. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, so this is valid for right now, and then going through tonight, you'll see just some scattered rain showers there. By the early morning hours on Tuesday, some heavier rains and maybe some thunder showers heading up out there in western Kentucky. By about sunrise on Tuesday, those showers have now expanded into western Kentucky. You can see why we have the heavier rain bullseye there. By around lunchtime or just a little bit before lunchtime, those rain showers have weakened a bit and expanded into central Kentucky and far northern portions of the state. By around Tuesday, around 1 to 2 p.m., most of those rain showers have now moved east of I-65 out there toward Lexington, Somerset, Pikeville, going south, maybe stretching down there toward Bowling Green. By Tuesday, around 5 to 6 p.m., most of the rain is gone from the state, maybe a backside line pushing through. This is going to be quickly fading, so this will probably just impact the counties along the Ohio River there. And again, very, very light additional accumulations there of rainfall. Almost at snowfall. Goodness. We're not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet. But by Tuesday night, most of that rain will be exiting the state. No real severe threat with this that we're seeing here. The bigger thing is going to be the dew points and the cold front coming through here. Here are our dew points right now. You can see mid to upper 60s for most folks throughout the state. Look at what happens when that cold front comes through Tuesday night. Watch the top left of your screen there as it comes in. Look at what happens to the dew points. They just get smacked down. Much more pleasant conditions. Wednesday through Friday is going to be a real nice snapshot into fall. We'll warm back up ever so slightly for next week, maybe to the upper 70s, low 80s. And then a bigger cold front comes through around the 19th to the 20th of October. I'll show you that real quickly. So going out to the national view here, let's go ahead and look about 5,000 feet above our heads. That's where you get the best idea of what the temperature pattern is going to be here. As you can see right now, and for the better part of the last week or two in Kentucky, we've been abnormally warm. Yes, it's true. I know it's not hot out there, like very hot. But yes, we have been technically abnormally warm for this time of year. It is October. We should be cooling down. to the 70s and 60s. We have not done that yet. So yes, we are abnormally warm. Advancing this forward, you'll see that we stay abnormally warm. And even when the cold front comes through on Wednesday, we only get ever so slightly below average there. That's what the blue means. And then we kind of warm back up a little bit to about average, maybe slightly above average here, a couple of degrees or so. By the way, average, if you didn't know, in October in Kentucky is about the low 70s for your highs and I believe low 50s for your lows. I'll have to double check that, but that's usually about average for Kentucky for October. Let's go back to an older run here. I want to show you what happens around the 19th or 18th or 19th or so. A big polar plunge gets loosened up there in Canada, and now it's moved into Kentucky by about the 20th. We may see temperatures into the 30s for lows into the 20th, and so going on, because it looks like even as this model run ends here, there may be a reinforcement of cold air on the way after the original cold air burst came through. So our summertime conditions may very well be done. Don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. It's too far out to really be too for sure with. And I'll tell you, when our summertime conditions are done, I will start to make our wintercast videos. If you guys don't know, our wintercast videos are basically the winter forecast that we kind of see coming for the year. Oh, the only thing I can tell you at this point is that this year is very comparable, and I'm sure you've seen it on social media. This year is very comparable to 2013, 2014, when we did have a big winter, but the only problem with that is that we also had a pretty severe winter as well. So the only thing I feel very confident about telling you at this point is that I do expect a few rounds of severe storms in the wintertime. Exactly what we're looking at is pretty unclear at this point. But the lack of hurricanes, the lack of tropical systems that we've seen in the Gulf of Mexico, likely is going to shoot up a lot of Gulf warmth to us, because if you guys didn't know, the reason hurricanes exist, it really is to create a balance mechanism for cooling down the ocean. Right now, our Gulf and the Atlantic coast is super warm because we haven't really had any systems this year for hurricanes or tropical systems. We've had some minor ones, and the ones that we did have really went out to sea. They didn't really come in to the country here. 9 times out of 10, from how long as I've been doing this for 8 years now, don't feel that way, but it's where we're getting to. Every time we have a year that has less activity in the Gulf for tropical systems, it almost always means some sort of severe weather in the winter. Almost always. Okay, so I'm just going to put it to you bluntly there. What exactly that severe weather looks like, of course, we don't know at this point. But, hopefully we get on the cold side of those battles. The reason there's more severe shots in the winter because the Gulf was warmer is because we almost always end up on the warm side of the battle of the cold and warm air. So hopefully we end up on the cold side of that battle and we just get a lot of snowfall. That would make me very happy. But we'll wait and see on that. Okay. Be vegan? No, I like meat. That sounded weird, but it's okay. Sorry, I'll bring a tardy slip next time. Thank you for going over it again. No problem, Amanda. Rid of livestock in order to keep CH4. You got me. I'm usually not speechless, but I'm speechless. I will keep eating my steaks. All right. I think that's good for us here. We went over a couple times. I'll post that forecast graphic on our page as well so you guys can see it. Anyway, until next time, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. Stay safe, Kentucky. Hit the wrong screen.